Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay. This time it's going to be Game 2 featuring Snake, our yellow Terran in the top left-hand side, and Dizzbanger, our green Protoss in the bottom left. Oh, I'm not going to lie, guys, I made a mistake. In reality, this is the fourth game that I've cast today, so I was like, oh, you know what would be great? Let's drink something to wet the whistle to make it so that the throat's not as little scratchy or painful to swallow or anything like that, because, you know, talking for a long time, it definitely wears down the throat, the vocal cords. And so I turned to my good friend's Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc, and I have had a couple of glasses of wine, so forgive me if this is not as fascinating of a casting as it deserves. I really enjoyed the first game, I have to admit. It was very, very enjoyable. A really grade A play from both players. I mean, if I remember correctly, it's been a couple of hours since I casted the last one. Dizzbanger opened with some Oracle play. He's been wildly successful. He killed something like 30 workers off of Snake's mineral line and really just crippled his economy. But because Snake's build order set him up for success, he had the stim and he had the combat shields already upgraded on his Marines, and he just bounced right back into it. He had double orbital commands throwing down mule after mule, and that really made it so that he could get mineral rich very, very quickly, and ultimately got him back into the game because he just had that nice money unit, that bread and butter of a bunch of Marines with good upgrades. And then because Dizzbanger kind of overstepped his bounds, moved out with a death ball with 2 Colossi in it, but just a little bit too early. He got surrounded very, very early by Snake's heavy bio ball, and ultimately got cut down into pieces. Oh no! Dizzbanger has succeeded in blocking off his probe behind the pylon. I don't believe that that's intentional. Ultimately, that's going to cost him both the probe and the pylon, especially now that the pylon has finished. I don't know if this is a sign for hyper-aggression. We still just see a single gateway, but regardless to that, he'd need to build the cybernetics core, and then he's probably going to be throwing out a handful of gateways afterwards. In reality, Snake showed us that he has the competency enough to be expected to actually scout out the rest of his base, so I really doubt that this pylon's going to go unscouted for an extended period of time. But hey, stranger things have happened. Nope, there goes Snake moving over with his Marine, is actually going to be taking care of that probe as well as the pylon. What was canceled here? 75 minerals for, that means 100 minerals was being constructed. I don't know, was that a supply depot? It was too big for a supply depot. I honestly don't know what was being constructed there. Oh well. Doesn't matter because it's not being built now. We have a cybernetics core being constructed, a single gas being tapped, which again tells me that this was probably going to be an aggressive opening from Dizzbanger. 2 more gateways being added on also in the sacrifice to that being that there's not going to be a 1-gate opening. There's not going to be a nexus being thrown down in a handful of seconds. So yeah, Dizzbanger is looking like he's going to be aggressive. He's got 200 minerals saved up right now, so it's not 100%. However, with that extra gas being grabbed, I think it'd be much, much more likely that he's going to be chrono boosting out that warp gate, and then maybe getting the mothership core very, very early, and we could actually see some aggression, and that would actually work in his favor. We see the command center being constructed. I'll bet up on the high ground. We have a second refinery going down for Snake. Still just the 1 barracks. It is just producing a modest amount of Marines, but added on another barracks. So yeah, both players are beginning to progress down that very traditional right. Really weird to see 3 barracks being added on with no tech lab. I feel like this is going to set Snake up to have an excess amount of gas. I mean, he already has 260. He's grabbing that extra command center. Really needs his minerals. He doesn't really have anything to spend gas on. Even if he grabs a tech lab, right now, the worst case scenario is he's going to be producing a bunch of Marauders and then stim or combat shield. That's still not enough to justify 2 gas, so what I would love to see is a factory start to work on that higher tech. I don't see anything here that's going to be using gas. Yeah, he's up to 400 gas right now. That's really weird that he grabbed that extra refinery. The 3 SCVs that are being wasted on that refinery, I feel, would be better spent on this mineral line. Get some extra minerals, make so your saturation gets better. Have the bunker being produced right now up on the high ground. However, with the SCV scouting over here in the natural, Snake's going to be aware of the fact that there's a nexus on the low ground, so any sign of aggression that was coming out from Dizzbanger with these 3 gates being thrown down and that proxy pylon being thrown down is really going to be mitigated. And in reality, I feel like Snake could easily move this orbital command down to the low ground, and yeah, it looks like he agrees with me, emptying out the bunker moving his Marines down to the low ground. He should be producing another bunker on the low ground. Yeah, there it is. Absolutely fantastic. Good read from Snake. Good read from Snake. What a bad read is all this gas. Almost 700 gas. Still no tech labs. Still no form of tech. A factory going down. Fantastic. That's 100 gas, but I mean, you really need to justify the fact that you've grabbed this many refineries, and the only thing I can think of is that he's going to add on a lot of tech later on, and he's going to be wasting a bunch of gas into that. Maybe a cloaked Banshee rush or a bunch of Ravens or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Even with that cloaked Banshee, I mean, the timing window for that is ridiculously far gone. You definitely don't need this many barracks, and you definitely reduce the time that it takes for you to get out that orbital command by cutting some corners, getting out that starport a little bit earlier, getting that Banshee across the field. Usually you see it hitting at about the 10-minute mark, and with only 2 minutes from that, even if you started to produce everything right now, he'd be behind by a good minute and a half. With 2 forges on the way, and as well as an observer, it really doesn't look like any sort of cloak play from Snake could be very effective against Dizzbanger. Dizzbanger definitely crossing his T's, dotting his I's, getting a nice infrastructure out there. +1/+1, which is kind of where his tech stalled last game. However, he's working on the other stuff. He's only got a single robotics facility out right now, but I would love to see an earlier robotic support bay get out that extended thermal lance just a little bit faster, because remember, his last engagement happened whenever he had 2 Colossi, but they did not have the range, and because of that, they got cut to pieces by the Marauders and the hailfire of all of those Marines just right on top of them. Still unupgraded Marines. We do have STEM coming out, and wow, and an armory being produced too. For Snakes, a factory with a tech lab on it is silent. So I guess with the armory and the tech lab combination, you could be seeing a Thor coming out. It is also possible that that tech lab was constructed for the starport. No, the starport's going to be using the tech lab on the barracks instead. I honestly do not understand, but this might explain the excess gas. With so much extra gas, you could definitely start to upgrade stuff on the armory, start to produce stuff from both the tech labs on the armory as well as the starport. So we'll have to see exactly what Snake is planning on doing. It's going to be unorthodox, whatever it is. Yeah, Raven being produced. Really weird. I wonder if this is going to be some sort of a mass Raven play. That would be fantastic. Thor coming out too. Really neat. Remember, the siege tanks did get a buff, and this map really lends itself well to siege tank playstyle because there's so many high levels that you can kind of abuse and position your siege tanks up on. But Thor's having a little bit of extra mobility. Maybe Snake is worried about some sort of airplay coming out from Dizzbanger. Really, we haven't seen any aggression from either player. Command center being thrown down on the top right hand side for Snake, and the third for Dizzbanger is also being taken in a little bit more of a traditional location. As 1-1 finishes, we can see that Dizzbanger is beginning to transition. He is getting out that robotics bay, allowing him to actually start on the Colossus production. Twilight Council also coming out. Remember, he did get that upgrade, but then didn't really get anything else. He never moved up to 2-2. He never got blink. He never got charge. So that is a very important piece of tech that was taken but never utilized, and I would absolutely love to see it, even if it's just charged for some zealots to make it so that those panic units are a little bit more cost effective. Just use the tech. You're getting this fantastic tech, and it opens up so many different opportunities. I would love to see maybe some blink play with this observer coming out. 3 more starports. Oh my goodness, is that what these are? Yeah, 3 starports being added on with the tech lab. This is really looking like that mass Raven play that we used to see coming out from Angry Kittens back in the golden days of Wings of Liberty. That is going to be absolutely fantastic. Nanotech bunkers, that is an upgrade that exists. I don't think I've ever seen it grabbed ever. It's the one that makes it so that the bunkers can have more units inside, right? Regardless, we have the extended thermal lance coming out with 1 Colossus on the production tab. Do we have another one out on the field yet? No, not yet. Just now starting it up on it, and actually a very meager standing force back at home, but this force's composition is slightly different. We have those 2 sentries, which really would have helped out Dizzbanger in that previous match. Remember, he moved out and kind of got surrounded early on when he had those 2 Colossi, and then because they were surrounded, Snake could move in very quickly with his stemmed Marines and Marauders and cut them down to pieces, and that really just devastated Dizzbanger's death ball. That surround was just too much for him to actually handle. And you know what else is too much to handle? 4 Banshees on the production tab. Holy crap, and even more being queued up. That is a ludicrous amount of Banshees. We have Cloak coming out for those Banshees too. That is a comical amount of Banshees. And they're going to do so much damage. There's Nano Steel Frame. I forgot what the upgrade's name was because you just never ever see it. But I think it like increases armor to the bunkers, as well as increases the carrying capacity of every single thing that can carry units. So like the orbital command, or no, the command center, how it can load up 4 or 5 SCVs, but then now it can load up 8 with the upgrade or something like that. Same thing goes for the bunker. It goes from 4 to 6, I believe. Like I said, I've just never seen it grabbed at all. I wonder if this means that Snake's going to be playing a very defensive playstyle and then going to be relying pretty much exclusively on these Banshees to do some sort of timing attack. I don't know. This is the type of thing that really makes it so that anybody's knowledge of the meta is just useless, because you've never seen this unit composition. Hopefully you'll never see it again. You've never seen somebody grabbing a hidden base on the third right side, grabbing 2 refineries and then not mining out of them at all. It's just really unheard of, and you're really left up to guesswork. So really, I mean, we know what type of composition's coming out from Snake. It's a buttload of Banshees, handful of Marines, and they do have Combat Shield. Combat Shield is underway, and it looks like he's unloading all the bunkers, is salvaging 2 of them, and with that he's going to be moving out with just an absolute flight of Banshees and a couple of Thors thrown into the mix. And these Marines are going to be pretty devastating once they have that Combat Shield out there. Remember, the upgrades are just +1 vehicle and ship. Remember, that is a combined upgrade. And we also have the second, the weapons being added into that. However, anti-air wise, quite a lot of stalkers out on the field right now. Blink from the Twilight Council is being researched. Absolutely fantastic. Once again, Dizzbanger just showing us minor changes, minor perfections to his build order. Look at this, 150 over 177. This is actually going to be a hell of a fight, and it's going to be really, really neat to see if this engagement actually happens post Blink upgrade, because that's really going to be the major difference maker. Can these stalkers get underneath those Banshees and clean them up? The Marines in and of themselves not going to be the most devastating thing in the world, because Extended Thermal Lance is done. These Colossus are going to be able to shell down a hell of a lot of AoE on top of these Marines, and just a handful of seconds, all those Marines are going to be gone. Force fields will be incredibly key, because you do need to keep those Colossus alive for a handful of volleys so that they can actually thin out those Marines. In reality, these Thors are not going to be doing the most damage in the world. Yeah, they're heavy hitters, but there's just 2 of them, and the far more DPS heavy units for bang for buck is your Banshee. You need to clean them up before you start turning on top of these Thors. It looks like with Blink just a handful of seconds away from finishing, Snake's going to be moving in, at the absolute perfect timing, +3/+3 being started just now. The stim goes out, the Nexus are just, oh man, just shelling away so much extra damage. Oh wow, a Hunter Seeker missile is on top of that one stalker, but the quick retreat from Dizzbanger keeps alive the majority of his force, keeping them out of all that splash damage. The probes are being transferred as that third goes down, but remember, 4th has been taken. Look at those Colossus just doing so much damage. All the Marines are being cleaned up, but the Cloak going down, oh my goodness. And look at this. Holy crap, there's no detection at all. These Banshees are just doing so much extra damage. Where is the observer? There are no observers. The Raven that was thrown into this composition had one job, and that was to make it so that there was no observers actually hanging out in this fight. Oh, that is an absolutely fantastic play from Snake, the cloaking field, making it so that the Banshees can pick apart every single one of those stalkers, even though those stalkers could have done so much damage to those Banshees. They just couldn't see them. They couldn't fight because the Raven was there, and the Marines and the Thors actually took care of any observers that were in the area, if there were any. I wasn't honestly paying attention to them. I totally forgot about the Cloak. Another flight of Banshees moving in here, and unfortunately for Dizzbanger, he cannot restock fast enough. There goes 3 observers right now. Oh, 3 observers, seeing that half of the Banshees are totally out of ammo. Even though there are a lot of gateways right now, they just cannot produce enough stalkers for Dizzbanger to actually deal with this. A handful more, another volley of stalkers coming out, but look how quickly those Banshees actually deal with them. And oh, what a fantastic fight. Dizzbanger did such a good job. I didn't see any force fields being thrown down. That would be my only note of criticism, but not even that. I mean, this was by far world's better play from both players than before. Snake not having to deal with those ridiculously powerful oracles, and Dizzbanger also really holding his own, not doing a bad job at all. Brutal. How many kills is that? 9 kills. Oh man. Oh man, good job. Dizzbanger is going to be tapping out. Snake just having a nice unit composition, making it so that his Banshees were pretty much impervious due to the absence of any form of detection. I would have absolutely loved to see how this would have played out if Dizzbanger had either Snake not researching Cloak or Dizzbanger had more than a handful of observers on the field at the time. I know he produced one. I'm not sure if it was sniped out by the Thor and the Marines in that initial engagement, or if it was killed while afield. I remember the Thors were running a circuit around his main base up here, accompanied with that Raven, just to see if they could take care of that observer. But if he did kill it, I missed it. I'm very, very sorry. Oh no, look at this, look at this. He did get that nano steel upgrade. So let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 Marines can fit inside of it, and it looks sexy. It looks really, really neat. That is super, super cool. You know what else is super cool? People who watch my videos. So thanks for that. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye. Gonna go drink some wine. Yeah, finish that bottle.